Hi, this is Marcus Toole in my yard and home orchard and vineyard here in Statesboro, Georgia. It is currently July 14th, so we're basically in the middle of July. And I'm here next to my raspberry latte fig. This fig's been in the ground since late last summer, and it's really been a fast grower for me. It hasn't produced any figs yet, and that's kind of its characteristic that it's kind of getting known of. This is a brand new variety. The original mother tree is only about 7 years old itself, and this one has a reputation of being a really fast grower when it's young, making a big tree, but not really producing fruit until it's 2 or 3 or 4 years old. It's not an early bearer like a lot of figs are. I have my McKibben plum here, plum here that I planted this year that's grown pretty good. Right here I have a LeConte pear, and this pear has, it's beginning to get a little bit light in color and has a nice little blush developing on it. Last year I got one pear off of it, and it did not ripen or wasn't ready to pick until about mid-August. So I'm going to leave these alone for now. I really don't think they're ripe, and but they are getting ripe. As you can tell, they are about a little bit smaller than a fist. So if you follow me this way, this pear tree here is a young one that I planted this year. This is a Tennessee. It has done 2 growth spurts, and this particular pear is a hybrid between the Tennessee pear, which I'm going to show you in just a bit, and a Japanese type pear called Hosui. And I don't have a Hosui because the Hosui is not fire blight resistant enough to be grown in southeast Georgia. We're going to continue on. We have other young pears. This is an example of a Japanese type pear. I won't say much about it other than that it's Shinto. And this over here is the mother tree to the Tennessee. Now, I mean, obviously this particular individual tree isn't the mother tree, but the variety, this is a clone of the mother tree of a Tennessee. And its pears, it's supposed to be a kind of a late variety, but some of its pears are getting kind of yellowish, and I happen to know they're pretty good even when they're at this stage, and some of the pears just come off very easily, which means that they're ripe. And I'm gonna try this pear. Historically, the pears I've eaten off of this tree have been just amazingly good. Okay. Flavor-wise, this is the best pear tree that I've gotten pears off in my yard. I mean, the pears, the flavor of the pears is positively wonderful. The skin is thick and a little bit astringent, which is kind of what it's supposed to be. So it's really a pear that would be much better if you picked it. And because the skin is thick, I'm not going to, that first bite is a little skinny for me to swallow it. But the flavor of the flesh is just wonderful. Well, Southern Bartlett also has some pears on it that look like they're about ripe. They're getting kind of yellowish. Now, to get pears soft ripe, they need to sit in a refrigerator for a while. So probably in the next day or so, I'm going to pick some of these pears and put them in a paper bag and stick them in the refrigerator and let them sit there for about 3 weeks. But this pear here is getting kind of yellowish looking, so it's probably ripe, even though it's kind of small. Now, Southern Bartlett is also supposed to be a really delicious pear. I like the skin texture better. The fruit is not quite as flavorful. It's more on the lines of what a Bartlett pear would taste like at this stage. I actually think this is better than a Bartlett pear. flavor-wise. And I think once these fruit are refrigerated, I can tell that they're softer. That this is just going to be buttery soft and very much like a regular Bartlett pear once refrigerated for a few weeks and then brought out to finish ripening. So let's go to the backyard. Here I have a Baldwin pear, and the pears aren't too big on it, and I don't think they're anywhere near to ripe. So we're going to leave them alone for now and come out to the pear tree that has really big pears on it, and really beautiful pears. This one has a reputation. Well, last year I got one pear. It didn't ripen until August. I suspect that's when most of the pears will ripen. But I have one pear here that's kind of yellowy looking. So I'm going to see if it pops off easily. If it does, then it probably means it's ready to be picked. Yes, it pops off really easily, just by kind of lifting it. So this is a Golden Boy, and I'm going to taste it. First of all, it's not as ripe as these other two were. Second of all, it does have a thick skin. The flesh is very nice, very similar to Southern Bartlett. It's not as ripe, so it's a little firmer. I think indeed the quality of this will get better when we wait a little longer before picking them. Now I want to show you some other things that are beginning to ripen that are not pears. Over here I have a Celeste pear tree, and I've been picking, not pear tree, a fig tree, and I've been picking Celeste figs for about a week and a half now, and this tree has really good figs. This is an early one, so it's a mid-July kind of fig, and this is about what it looks like. This fig could be a tad bit riper. I have to kind of pick these a little sooner than I ordinarily would, just because the birds like them so much that if I waited till they were ripe to the point that I really like to eat them at, I would never get to eat a fig. And I pick them just a little bit earlier and make fig preserves out of them, and that's just fine because they make wonderful fig preserves. My best fresh eating fig is actually over there. It won't ripen, it's not ripened yet, but that's my green Ishtia fig. And that's the best fresh eating fig, and it's a green fig, so birds don't usually bother green figs much because they can't tell when they're ripe. Now let's continue on. We'll see some other things beginning to ripen a little bit. We get to the muscadine. August is always a big month in the orchard. And my muscadines, August and July, particularly August, my muscadines are beginning to ripen, and I have an Ison Muscadine that's really not quite ripe, but it's ripe enough to eat. So, really good flavor. Kind of tart still, just because it won't really be until early August before I'm picking muscadines, but they're beginning to get there, and I even enjoy eating a half green muscadine grape every now and then. So things are happening in the orchard, and and I would show it. I have a big red muscadine that's changing color too, but I won't take us over there because I have a sprinkler going, and we'd get soaked if we talked about that or went over there to where